Testing one, two, three. Testing, testing. I'll be right back. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another live segment with You Will Make It TV weekly, where we share inspirational quotes, messages, and insightful topics just like these, okay? And if you read the title, uh, let me make something clear again, too. We are not here at You Will Make It TV when I go live. I am not a news reporting station, okay? But I do watch the news. I stay current on news because this is what I enjoy to do. I don't like to live anywhere or be participating in anything and I'm not watching the news. Sorry, not saying that the news is where I get all my insight and intuitive thoughts and stuff from. Nope. But I am thankful for the news. So when I do insightful topics, sometimes, yeah, it's about things that I see on the news. It is what it is. They don't want people talking about it. Don't put it on the news. But we're always grateful for the news. Don't get us twisted. But I was just saying, that's just a whole deal right now. People in Chicago are not happy about these some refer to them as slurs, and it's not the first time the president has been accused of whole slurs. SLURS. Okay, because what y'all tell me what's the difference from a slur, a threat? Because people really don't know anymore. I saw somebody say it on another channel yesterday as their topic that it just seemed like today people just say whatever. Literally. It does not matter the setting. It does not matter who's around or whose feelings are going to be crushed in the process. I can understand that, like when it's coming out of the mouths of young people or something. Though you just not saying age has anything to do with it, but older people, you think they know better. They just know better. I'm not talking about Donald Trump right now. I'm just talking about in general. I'm finna get back into that about that. But I think we all know the difference, or we have to renormalize the definitions of words like slurs or derogative. What is that word? Derogatory language. A slur or a straight up threat attack with words is very real, right? So you have residents of Chicago that just feel like if you're gonna do something and it's for legal purposes and you really trying to change the country, you would just do it. Why you gotta make whole statements like yeah, Chicago's finna be shocked what we're finna do to them like that. That's where people look at it kind of as like maybe a slur, maybe like They don't know anymore. They feel like they have to get whole prepared. I'm just here to give my commentary, opinions, and insight on this very real topic on tonight. Happy Sunday to you guys out there. Today's date marks September 7th, 2025. And we thank you for tuning in. Please remember to hit that subscribe bell and like button to show your support. All right, so back into what I was saying though. I've seen them on the news lately with all these protests and marches they've been doing lately, and I'm not here to mock it, but just imagine feeling like you got to protect yourself from you because you don't know what the president is finna do in your town next. I'm just here to get my commentary because I told people I saw things coming to this. What do you do? I'm not saying Donald Trump is absolutely right, but what do you do when cities want to act and play like, yeah, we're all in control of the people, and we don't care about the crime rate? Because that's what I was finna get to. Y'all know the mayor there actually came out and did a public, he did his kind of public forum announcement deal of how they plan on taking a stance. They do not want the president sending ICE and National Guard and stuff out there. But what are y'all opinions? Because it's like a part of me. I'm happy to see leaders step up and speak up more for their local communities and stuff. But at the same time, you've been seeing so much in some of these local communities that it's like, why speak up now? Not that, I mean, I always said late is better than never. Don't get me wrong, but I don't like this part when it comes to my commentary. They have a new slang term for quote unquote young thugs and young gangsters, blah, 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 blah. They call them YNs. I'm not about to repeat on my stream today what YN is supposed to stand for, but see, that alone is derogatory. It's it's like a slur to just call somebody a YN to me, like me personally. It's like, what are you saying? Oh, I'm a young Negro. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. It's just weird, bro. Like, it's weird. Like, you're saying the war is on the illegal immigrants at first, but I'm not saying Trump is wrong. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, how do you explain, oh, we're trying to change the young people now? Not everybody's just going to fall for that. We literally watched the country the past 10 to 20 years do things specifically targeted at the younger communities. And we saw the after effects too. This is about line upon line, precept upon precept. That's stupid. It's almost, and then you wonder why people believe mind control and what's the other control? When it comes to communications and media, I was looking for the right word, but we're supposed to be conspiracy theorists when we talk about that and believe in it. No, we're not conspiracy theorists. There's nothing conspiracy about the truth. Like, all these different rights all of a sudden that you say, yeah, the youth can now say what they want and what they don't want, and well, knowing that a youth mind is not even fully matured to fully grasp in concept their quote unquote rights. Like me, I do believe it's important for young people to know at an early age their rights. I say knowing the law is important too. It's an equal balance, but we should be more concerned not just about them knowing their rights, but the laws too, and how they do affect the youth today. You don't ever just let a person say, well, here, yep, all YNs can now eat all the cookies they want to, literally. And then years later be like, well, the YNs are stealing cookies now. Like, and then ask yourself why that's happening. That's retarded. We know that when it comes to poverty stricken communities, it's never been much that America was doing about it. But blaming the poverty stricken communities. Though no poverty stricken community asked for there to be 50 liquor stores. Cause I ain't never seen too many liquor stores that was owned by black people, honestly. That's just an example of what I'm talking about. The things they say we use to abuse ourselves, we didn't even bring them into this country. I mean, you had bootleggers and people with wine businesses and that have always liked alcohol, but just to make it like, oh, yep, see, black people are the alcohol problem. Let me remind people, people all over the world drink alcohol. People all over the world experiment with drugs, starting with pharmaceutical companies. It's like getting back to the basics. Because Americans seem to be on this wild trip of who we're going to blame, and it's so stupid. Who we're going to blame for America's debt? You think you're going to blame one group of people? That's that's crazy. It's bold too. It's just bold as hell. Like, and you do it. That's kind of like stepping on people while they down. You know that you've never did everything you can do to help poverty-stricken communities. You should be the last one trying to wage war on one. It's different if they came with like, I think at the end of the day, what offends people is Trump's what's they call his delivery, like his the way that he does things. You know what I'm saying? If you come out with a protocol plan, oh well, we want to see grades rise in the schools. We want to see less murders on the street. We want to see less gangs. I don't know if he might have made it more specific about what their plans are. You know what I mean? You just said, "Oh, I hope Chicago is ready for what we finna do." I mean, some are saying, some of the residents out there saying they feel whole targeted. They're saying that before ICE and what's the other group? ICE and the National Guard gets there. They just feel targeted. That's what they were saying. Because that's how people are going to feel when they don't know exactly why changes are happening rapidly. So when it comes to my commentary, I'm trying to feel for the people and also, I guess, kind of understand the law and justice at the same time, too. Because it was the Chicago residents. They are the first ones on the news saying that they're tired of heartache and crime and just some of the things that have gone on in neighboring communities out there. And if people think they don't already have advocacy groups and groups out there that have been trying to work on their communities as far as gang violences and teen pregnancies and all this type of stuff, drugs, they've been doing that for years. It's like, have we forgotten? And then look at what happens to those people. Anybody that stand up lately, that's what I've been paying attention to, calling themselves an advocate or a support team of somehow to try to help lower crime. Because how do you do that without money, right? I wouldn't say you need money to change, but it's pretty easier for you to make yourself look better than the Chicago residents when you're the whole president. Come on, bro. A lot of the same things people do in these poverty-stricken communities, oh, they do behind the scenes too. People with money. It's just like, look how God brings it to a head at the end of the day. It's just stupid. It's stupid to me. Why are we fighting our own states and cities and communities, or we're so tuned in or zoomed in all of a sudden? I don't know. It just seems weird. Because, it was Washington, D.C. first, was it? Then they sent them to New York. They sent them to California. But I was just saying my prediction, they're going to be, those military people just might as well get ready. But I'm gonna explain why I say that. Number one, so many countries are fighting right now. It is wise in a way for countries to prepare themselves for anything. That's just my opinion. And they should be doing that as whole units, not fighting against each other. But the truth is, America has rich history in fighting against each other just to get everybody on an equal level. That's just not something. I'm not saying we're the only country, but like it's not something you see as frequent all the time, like in other countries. But yep, countries have their own differences sometimes. It's just that if we only invested money and time and resources in, you know, our country and fixing it, which we've had plenty of time to do that. If you ask me, all of this is like, oh, okay, well, we got to immediately go to emergency precautions because the bait we threw out there, they took it. That's crazy to not have thought on the other side how your bait could have affected people. That's dumb. Most people, the purpose of bait is to catch something, to catch somebody, to catch fish, which I did do a post quote yesterday or the day before. I said, "Yep, some people I believe that they learn to fish before they even learn to swim because that's how hungry they were." And to pretend that scenarios like that don't exist is retarded, or to criminalize the people who learn to fish before they could swim is crazy. Just to wrap some type of narrative around them, like, oh, that person's crazy. They're fishing, but we ain't never had no record of them swimming. That's how I feel being a young person today. They have an order to things. They feel like there's a certain path and certain steps you should have took before you become a fisherman. And they like, well, wait a minute. We never seen Arthur Tedasheri swimming. So what is she doing out there fishing? On a whole canoe boat. Yep, long as I got my life vest on, I'ma be okay. I'd rather take my chances going out there fishing, though I can't swim, because that might be my only resort. I'm just using myself for example, but that might be anybody's last resort. You go hungry or you get out there and fish. I'm sure learning to swim is going to take a person a minute versus learning how to fish, throwing the rod out there, and you got 10 fish to feed your family that night. And to reference what I mean with the swimming, okay, everybody might not be as expertise and technology and money and finance and computers and have all this money and connections behind them, but I bet you they can still go catch a fish if they need to. You see what I'm saying? Basic survival skills will have you looking more advanced than others where people think you shouldn't be advanced. Put them in a position to where they have to survive. You're going to see people, that's why I like to think about the Hurricane Katrina story sometimes. It's more than a story. That was people's lives that were affected. Some of them people to date, they still suffer with PTSD. I mean, you don't just see, unless it's the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, you don't just see people checking on them and how they're doing 20 years later all the time. Because most of them had to move. They were displaced from their homes. And yeah, just like that place, even before a national disaster, I mean, a weather disaster. I shouldn't have said national, but before that statewide national disaster, they had a issue with poverty-stricken communities. It's like, no, you can't just come in. I was just saying my only problem with that, it just seemed like, why send National Guard to poverty-stricken communities first? I would hope somebody's on the sidelines watching the richer communities and what's happening in those communities as the National Guard is being, uh, you know what I'm saying, released in poverty-stricken communities. They want you to just be focused on well, okay. I'm pretty sure everybody that could help their situation and get out of a poverty-stricken community, they would have skedaddled out of there already. People are barely paying their rent, but you think they're supposed to magically poof up funds so they can move to safer places for their children. It's just not real. It's not a realistic thought. And that's why I did kind of predict this. I said I feel like crime gonna get worse because what else happens when people are making less money, when benefits are being cut? Because that part about fundings being cut and budgets and stuff being cut is happening all over America. That's not just in Chicago or just in New York or just in Washington D.C. That is one similarity that all these places have. Hi. Yeah, I was just saying, like, I thought I would give my commentary and reaction as these things happen, but how do you expect things to get better with budget cuts and stuff everywhere. Um, I don't know. I mean, I hope that I can only hope that I'm not being funny. You know, that we're moving more with strategy over emotion. You know what I mean? Anybody can get in their emotions, a leader or a regular common person. Anybody can get in their emotions and just start making decisions. Any one of us. If you move with more strategy though, and it's just crazy to think about strategy. It's usually the people who think of strategy who thinks the strategy is the best. The more people you put in on some type of strategy, at least you get more open opinions on what sounds like a logical strategy and what doesn't. And it's almost like there's not a lot of fans. There's still some, but there's not a lot of fans of the Trump administration and the strategies that they have put together lately. I guess people are not fans of that. I guess because they don't always come with a whole guidebook on why these changes are happening. You know, like I think it's crazy to just still try to make poverty-stricken communities look the same. We have whole technology. Banking is whole on phones and stuff now. I feel like there's a increase in poverty and homelessness because more people's identities are being stolen. More people. It's impossible to live a regular everyday life just like we're in the 80s, the 90s, or early 2000s, and there's literally a proven increase in identity theft. Actually, I predict that too. I feel like we'll see it more with celebrities too. I hate to say it. I hate to say that too. I hate to say it about poor people. Identity theft should have never even been happening to poor people. But if it can happen to them, I do. I see God showing that here soon. Like, why would it not be able to affect people in any financial class? As long as you have an identity, you are never exempt from identity theft. It just seems logical to say. It seems logical to think about. It seems logical to understand. Why would we wait and say it's a more serious problem when it's happening to the rich too? Because who else do you have to come after you've tore down all the poor people? Literally. Who else will there be to target and attack? So I always saw division and like division is not the word I'm looking for, but it's close enough. It does not help in a time of crisis ever, but with each and every war I've ever seen in the history of wars, it's always this divide and conquer is one strategy that they use. And it's like people in modern times days are not paying attention to that. Divide is always the first step, but it's always somebody on the other side just waiting till it's divided enough, right? Till everybody's scattered enough, till everybody's beefing enough, right? Tore down so much that they don't even know who they are anymore or who their village once was. And then they call it divide and conquer because conquer is always the thing on the other side of it. That's why I'm the type to pay attention to the roots of division. I don't care if it's in a community, a family, with somebody's children, at a job, at a workplace environment. Division is division. It's never just been division, unless it's division and multiplication, because that's one way I guess that division could be positive. But most times, the only other thing on the side of division is conquer. And it's very scary because you never know who's really behind the scenes holding the controller, pushing X X X X X, dividing everybody, waiting to push the circle button, which means conquer. It's scary. It's very scary to think about. So, anyway, just see protests and marches happening already. People speaking up, coming forth in Chicago saying no. We will not easily just let the National Guard and the ICE come in here trying to remold or reshape our community. Now there's mixed emotions about it because like people said, we would think Chicago want to see that or would be thankful for the help. No, but that's not what the mayor said. It really is not what the mayor has come out and said about that. Sorry, that's just not how he feels. And people have mixed opinions about why that might be, as we know. See, they still play the race card factor. Well, their mayor's black. Oh, okay. What does that mean? If the mayor was white, would it be any different? you know, I don't know. But it's a time to be alive too. Like we're seeing states more than ever. I guess try to tap in and use their power more, or speak up with their level of power and do what they can do. And that's what I'm paying attention to, because when the states can't speak up for their states no more, aren't we in trouble anyway? When the mayor don't have a say so, the senators no longer have a say so. What place does that leave the people? Now, the mayors and stuff have always been in the seats they sit in, and communities, whether they know it or not, they've always had a right to come together and vote people. We talk about voting all the time, but see, just like you can vote people in, you can vote people out, and you don't just see that a lot. Maybe because there's always a lot of resistance too. It's the money and the power that more controls things. Like you see a group of people try to get together and protest to vote somebody out of a place, it just always leads to, I'm not going to say misfortune, but a lot more division when it shouldn't be. Everybody should be happy to see people more come and have more of a voice about who they would like to see. When it comes to voting, I was just making people aware again. Voting has never just been about getting somebody in a spot or getting somebody that you want to make the changes that you want to see. You can also vote people out of places too. You just don't have people doing that really. Because now they want to say, oh, well, I think the mayor's wrong and the mayor's has never done. Okay. They're trying to make it like the YNs are battling up for some type of war. I don't like how they're trying to make them look. The war they've been having in Chicago, whether I've been there or not, I know this much. That's been going on. That's been going on. Huh? That war has been the war on drugs, the war on crime, the war on street gangs. And they just keep playing this game with God, like trying to hide the truth to me. America will never be able to hide the truth, bro. I don't even have to speak on the truth. But I think we're all aware by this point there are so many hidden truths in this country that I think it was an illusion for you to ever say money is all you need to hide the truth. That's an illusion in itself. Because if money can hide the truth, then money can damn sure expose it as well. Or a lack thereof would eventually expose it. If you were keeping something together for a long time just with money and no other foundation, what you think would happen uh, when there's no money? Then stuff starts to get exposed. I think it was a bad strategy to begin with to say, well, we'll make equality rights here and there, but some of these more powerful truths, we're just going to keep using money to keep it buried. It's almost showing too. That's why, to me, there has been an uptick increase in more uh, new age spiritual practices because maybe the money isn't working anymore. But that's just my opinion here. Arthur Tedder at You Will Make It TV. That's my opinion about it. It's like people even see money is not going to save them, so they're tapping more into. I don't want to get into politics of what spiritual practices are wrong and right for people. I just know that can't be hidden. There has been an increase in new age spiritual practices. People are leaning more on spiritual practices to, uh, lean on and depend on. She got a little upset about that. I was just let me expound on my baby interrupted me a little bit. This was getting good what I'm trying to say. And once again, you never have to agree on my commentary and reactions here at You Will Make It TV. This is just to spark insightful thought, critical thinking and things like that here about real situations that could infect us all directly or indirectly. You don't have to be in Chicago to see a poverty-stricken community. The main thing at the end of the day that the rich and the poor is chasing is money, and it's crazy. We understand why the poor need it though. We understand why they chase it. So you use your money to continue to control the narratives of poor places. We never needed that. You see, it's an illusion. You use media, communications, and the news and everybody to try to control why the issues are the issues in the poverty-stricken communities. Like people are retarded. We know why. And man, all at the same time, there's like division in the CDC, division here, division there. The CDC is not a place you want to see division. Medicaid and Medicare, U.S. Education Department boards. That's not a place we want to see division. Even if it was hidden, though, that's I'm just having my own theory. I'm thinking out loud. Even if it was hidden, because some things is just an illusion. There was always division in the CDC, probably. Always division with NASA, probably. We just didn't see it because, like I said, money can sit there as an illusion. I don't think it can realistically cover truth. How you gonna use a tangible thing to cover up something so real? I don't know. And then I can even think about what American money is made out of or how it's produced. And you thought you were going to use that to keep burying the truth. It seems retarded. It just seems a little dumb, bro. I mean, because nobody ever asked, well, if we run out of money, how we going to keep hiding the truth, right? I'm not trying to sound like I defend that. I'm just trying to say what I'm saying from afar or whatever, right? Somebody can look at my life from afar and make conclusions. I'm actually thankful for the experience now. Real talk. People thought you could do the same experience to everybody and get the same result. But the point of an experiment is to show you the truth too. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, she's a black woman like the other black woman. We'll just do what we did with the last black women. Who told you that it's promised that you were going to get the same result, though? I'm just using that for an example. I thought that we understood this about experiments. Not that any of our communities have been asked, have just stood up and said, yeah, experiment on us. But you have to understand with experiments too, you might find and run into something, a result that you didn't even knew existed. That's the point of an experiment. And like I said, if you can look on an average common person's life from afar and feel like you control the narrative just because you have some money, what are you going to do when money's no good anymore? You know, they said for a long time people already had been rejecting American currency. I was like, can anybody explain it to me? If you use money as your foundation, you cannot get mad when the foundation begins to crack because the money is funny. To me, it's not any real divisions going on. It all go back to money. Where budgets are being cut. But I know that for the most part, Trump has always been referenced as a smart money move made. When nobody has to like his character or how he moved and what he's done in his past. But when it comes to business, the man wouldn't be rich and stuff if he didn't have a little money sense, a little money education. So maybe he believes, I'm just saying though, like with all of us and the way spiritual judgment has been going, whatever you're willing to do so easily, you have to expect it to, I'm just saying, you do. You have to expect the resistance or one day ask yourself like, oh, okay, well, if somebody would have did this to me, how would I have reacted? like that. If you can sit from afar and conclude stuff from another person's life, why can't we sit back and look at what's been happening in politics and make our own conclusions? They study our communities, throw a few statistics on papers, and that's our story. And it's been this way for centuries. You know, I don't want a statistical story anymore. I don't think I'm the only one. People want the truth. And it's funny, you don't have to have money to come up on that. I was saying a lack thereof usually exposes it. The lack thereof and how long the lack thereof lasts too. It's so crazy. Like, anyways, it's not a hidden thing, you know. Americans, to me, they've been unhappy, but it's just like now they feel like they have more to like blame it on. And every time I try to sit back and logically listen to what people are angry about in America lately, it still go back to money. And I'm like, oh my God, we're not getting anywhere. Because nobody ever told America to make money the foundation of their power. Because then if you go in debt, like I said, or you don't have any, then what's your power? So if you try to convince me, yeah, this the more powerful side because of our money, that's not something that even like royal families, it's the whole reason they do rituals and practices and stuff over their money. The goal is the longevity. You know, it's like people get something out of temporary fame, clout, or status when more wiser people actually think about the longevity of their money, not just the account part. Like where it stands one day. One day it's $1 million. The next day you're down to 100,000. They don't be trying to look like that as royals. So they already have spiritual practices and things that they do, you know, ritualistically too. Like very on time. They have a on beat time every month. I'm sure that they pray over their money. And now who they pray to may differ across the world, but most people with long money like that, they do. They have some type of spiritual background. I think it's very significant. They have some type of spiritual way that they are practicing to try to keep that money right where it is. So this is where it gets interesting to me. I don't care what nobody say. I've already researched it. People, you thought, oh, they've been kings and queens for 1,000 years. And you think they did that with no spiritual practices at all? Their money just kept them powerful? No, surely not. Surely they do rituals and stuff. They even pray over the money after I don't know. I'm not finna sit here and act like an expert with the rituals they do, but I know it's some type of spiritual significance behind people with big money. Cause see, their goal is to never lose it. You see what I'm saying? So they're willing to go the lengths spiritually. I mean, spiritually, like with spiritual practices, to keep their money in one spot. And now I have you looking at some of these churches that's been under fire lately too. Cause that's another thing Chicago was in the news for in the past, let's say 3 to 5 years. Like people were getting bolder with the spots that they choose to rob. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, Chicago on a whole nother level. They were on the news before about churches and preachers being whole robbed. Like people coming in there holding the church at whole gunpoint. I was embarrassed as a believer in God. Not just for the YNs that was doing stuff like that, but for the churches. Like, what are you doing in your church that people feel comfortable? They just feel comfortable coming in there taking whatever they want to take. They tried to make it look like, oh, that was some kind of insurance scam. No, that says a lot too. While people hollering, oh, if the power of God was with you, this and that wouldn't be happening to you. Bro, churches, people have been walking in them, holding them at gunpoint. Whole robbing the members, and if they'll do it like that, who knows what they do under the table. Like, it's just crazy to think about. But yeah, Chicago was one of those places that you saw in the news that a church got just, people attempted it for sure. They attempted to come in the whole church and rob it. It's crazy. So just like everybody else, all I can do is continue to sit back and watch these things unfold. In my opinion, it just didn't seem right to like say, see, rile them up, send a whole threat or warning to the place. Yep, we're sending National Guard out there now. No, just do your job. If you're gonna send a National Guard and ICE somewhere, you already know there's nothing. How do people defend themselves from that? You know, and if they homeless, they may be scooped up and thrown on buses and go where? Because there was that conspiracy talk of FEMA camps a long time ago. People were already investigating, like, what are these secret camps needed for? I mean, is the country preparing for something? They had plastic caskets, camps. Everybody only want to talk about alligator Alcatraz or Alcatraz, whatever it's called. It was places already out there. What you want to call them, camps? And I don't know if that's how they're trying to make it look like, oh, no, 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 this is just for the illegal immigrants. Like, okay, well, where are all these homeless people going that y'all scooping up off the streets? Are you taking them to other centers or facilities? Are they getting help with housing? We know that's not true. You're cutting the housing funding off. Pretty much. Pretty much. I guess we were just supposed to be sitting dummies and watch changes like this happen. It's stupid. When people know y'all was already planning FEMA camp. We just didn't know for what. Like, we could see for national disasters and stuff like that, you might have to take people to the FEMA camp so they can get back on their feet and stuff. I'm not saying I agree with it, but at least it has some kind of logic behind it. But some of these places that were investigated, yep, they had rows and rows and rows of plastic caskets and stuff. Like they were already preparing exactly what we're going through today. And what's up with these other rumors? It's just crazy. Even Obama, I think I last saw that he's under investigation, or they was saying he might be facing jail time. I'm like, what? A whole ex-president? This stuff is unheard of. It's just unheard of.